Hi, this is Mark Marshall. In this tutorial, I want to discuss the perception of what clean guitar tone is. In modern times, if you ask somebody for a tip on how to get clean guitar tone, it's likely that often people will point you towards running straight into a DI and getting a clean guitar tone that way, or using a Fender Twin Reverb, particularly the blackface era Twin Reverb amp. Now, there is nothing wrong with either of those two choices. However, that is just, I don't know, one shade, or because I mentioned two devices, two shades of clean colors, and there are actually many more that exist. In fact, some of the most classic clean guitar tones were recorded using neither of those two approaches. In this micro lesson, I'm going to be discussing the 4-input Plexi models and the JMP models. I'll also be discussing guitarists such as Andy Summers, Lindsey Buckingham, James Honeymoon Scott, who all got their clean sounds from Marshall JMP or Plexi amps. I'll be using a variety of guitars with a Marshall Plexi, and I'm going to be discussing the ways that I might have to tweak the amp, what input I'm using, or if I'm bridging the channels, and getting a clean sound. Marshall amplifiers offer a rich mid-range and chimey tone that can just perfectly sit in a mix sometimes in a way that a Fender amp or other amplifiers won't. Before you purchase the course, I wanted to give you a free tip that you can use that I've found very useful when getting clean sounds. Now, Jimi Hendrix is known for using fuzz face pedals, but what some people don't realize is that sometimes he was using them to actually get a clean sound. So everybody's used to hearing them, the sound is all fuzzed out. But one cool thing in particular with germanium-based fuzz face pedals, right now I'm using an Analog Man Sunface, and this model is the 2N527, and this is Analog Mike's germanium copy of the fuzz face, which is my favorite modern production fuzz face. They're not all created equal, so be mindful when you're trying to find one to do this trick with. This really isn't super expensive, so I kind of just recommended it because he just really nails that sound. But one cool thing that happens with the germanium circuit is if you play at, I don't know, I'm going to put my volume on like 7, and I'm plugged into this Marshall Plexi, and with the pedal off, with my guitar volume all the way up, it sounds like this. So now I have the volume down on 7 on the guitar. You hear it's very similar, but one thing that's changed is there's a little bit more compression than when I don't have the pedal on, and it just softens the tone a little bit, you know, like from So you hear a little bit of gain there, but it's really not that much. It's subtle. And this gets into the question of what's clean and what's dirty, right? But a little bit of hair is still considered clean in my book. And this was one way that Hendrix kind of got some of his clean sounds. And he would just sort of play with his volume knob. One thing this does is it compresses the signal and controls the transients a little bit. I think that's really important because that's often what people associate as being like ice picky with guitar tone, is when the transients are just too short and too bright and too extreme. And the Sunface pedal allows me to sort of compress without compressing, because when you use a compression pedal, it can sound a little extreme and just really clamp down, where this is a lot more subtle. There's times when I'm touring and I'm playing that I have this on a lot, and I'm just sort of riding my my volume knob here, you know, to getting that sound, and I can just change how